Hey guys, it's Thursday night and you're part of the Mountaineer Mafia. I'll tell you what, got a lot to talk about. West Virginia's at a fork in the road. This way is a bowl game, and this way is an 8-loss season. Don't know what road they're going to pick, but we're going to find out Saturday. So stay tuned. Guys, it's that time of year. High school football's wrapping down, winding down. Leaves are starting to drop, getting colder. NFL season's picking up, and college is getting red hot. Guys, unfortunately for the Mountaineers, they're not red hot. But Neal Brown's butt cheeks are toasty. That is a fact. I think West Virginia is going to be competing for a bowl game. I don't think they care if they go to the Toilet Bowl, the Outback Bowl, the Out Behind the Barn Bowl, the Salad Bowl. They don't care. I don't care. I don't even know if I'm going to go to another game this year. I'll watch it at home. I'm that butthurt. Are you guys as fans? Are that jacked? Hey, Caden, how's it going? It's going good, but I'm just feel like Neal Brown. I'm apathetic. Well, the tailgating's good. No, guys, let me take a little drink of pessimistic. No, I'll drink from the optimistic cup half full. West Virginia wins out. They're going to beat Arizona because Nico is from Arizona. If he plays, it'll be like a homecoming. Gigi goes in there, plays well. If he can run, those legs are healthy, then they have a chance. But Arizona has the same record as the Mountaineers. And they have petered out more than the Mountaineers. They have lost. They were number 20 at one point. They're on a losing streak. 2 games is the beginning of a streak. 3 makes a streak for West Virginia. Okay, hey, now I'll invite you in. So, what happens with Neal Brown? So I invited Caden in. There's the link. But before I invite Caden in, Saturday's game, they're going to be rocking my favorite unis. These are the unis right here. And I absolutely dig them. If you haven't seen them, they're fantastic. So don't hate. I'm going to play this. It's probably not going to have sound. Guys, what do you think of that? Doesn't that get you geeked up a little bit? What do you think of those uniforms?
Damn, Shane, them unis are looking fresh.
They are. They are. I'll tell you what's fresh is the Rolodex for Wren Baker, right? I think agents are calling him about maybe a coaching position opening up. Ken, you there?
Yeah, I'm letting you talk, Shane, first, because this is your show, so I ain't gonna do anything stupid.
I want to hear what you have to say. I'm asking you. Do you think Wren Baker has a lot of calls coming in from agents?
Oh, most definitely. But I feel like for me personally, West Virginia's like his home. And, honestly, if he stays in West Virginia and he, helps with that, I feel like next year or maybe in a year or two, they can really start pumping the gears out on that team pretty good.
If he lasts the year, I'm excited about the recruiting class, but when you have a losing record, you're going to lose a lot of players.
But there's a quote I remember that was said from one of my mentors growing up. You're gonna have those days where you lose those games that you really wanted to get in and punch, but in the end, when it comes back around again, there will always be a revenge year.
Yeah,
there will always be a revenge year. So West Virginia will have a revenge year, and I guarantee you, it's not that far. It's pretty close than what the spectators and the analysts are saying.
Do you think it's going to be like Narduzzi last year, where they were calling for his ass, and then all of a sudden he turned it around, and now they're going to be 7-0 after this? They're up 21 or 24-0 against a 5-1 Syracuse team.
I mean, listen, it can happen.
Yeah, it could happen. I would like to see it happen. So, here's the thing. If they let Brown go, they got to pay him a lot. And then new coaches, to get someone that is of a better caliber than Brown, you're looking at $4.5 million, $5 million. And you have 2 years of just languishing, waiting, kind of, because it's even with the transfer portal. Kurt Cignetti's an outlier. He came in within a year. They're cooking, but that's not. I don't think that happens at West Virginia, unless Nick Saban comes in or Jim O'Fisher.
Listen, I'm just gonna say this to all the Mountaineer fans that watch this show. There will be the day sooner than later, and I guarantee sooner, that West Virginia starts climbing up the mountain, just like Miami, Pitt, Army, Navy. You see what I mean? Y'all gonna start climbing up the mountain, and nobody's gonna touch you. Iowa State will have some serious problems coming their way. BYU will be 2-3 because West Virginia will be topping everybody else in the Big Ten's roster. Because the Mountaineers, Morgantown is a place that deserves a title match for one, a playoff appearance, and a really, really well-deserved, well-oiled year. That's all that they want.
I wish I had your optimism. I don't.
Now, Shane, let me name a couple one-hit wonders that really, in my opinion, shocked my bones to see.
Okay. Let's hear
Cincinnati, a fellow Big 12 member, went 13-0 and made a playoff appearance.
Yeah.
When they were literally the lowest ranked team in the college football AP polls.
True. Okay. Give me one more.
TCU. Unbelievable.
All right.
TCU. So you know what? It can happen. West Virginia could beat Michigan in a bowl game to secure a playoff spot.
I don't know how that works. I'd love for that to happen. I just don't see it happen. They got to beat Arizona first. They beat Arizona, I might be drinking the Kool-Aid again. Oklahoma State win, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I was jumping up and down.
Listen, the Arizona win is going to happen. Arizona pretty much needs to work on their coaching staff. They need to make sure that Arizona defense keeps their physicality level up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Arizona is trying to climb up the mountain like you guys. So you guys are going to be competing every single year for that. But here's my thing about Arizona. A good team, but I really wish they could step up their physicality just like West Virginia. West Virginia is a team, like I said in the beginning of this year, and I didn't say it on this show specifically, but I said the week before the Penn State game, which I will say West Virginia should have had that in the bag, and they showed Penn State that they could hang with somebody like Penn State at home. But that's not my.
But he just got there this year. He inherited most of these guys. So, Joey and I were crapping all over Arizona, saying they're overrated, but they have talent. But
But here's my thing, Shane. And now Joey and you could talk about this on another show later on and put my points out there.
Yeah.
Okay, use what I say. But here's my thing, and everything I say is non-scripted.
Yeah.
It's not show scripted.
Okay.
I literally said the week before the Ohio State Akron, West Virginia Penn State game, I literally said that West Virginia, Arizona, those two teams in particular, in my opinion, well, along with Cincinnati, could be a couple of teams that could make the Big 12 really start ramping up its systems. It could really start, climbing up the mountain, because there's times where they will climb up the mountain and they won't stop. The Mountaineers are that kind of team. They have the talent. They have, the players to help win the big games. But my question is, and here's my thing, coaching staff is one. They really need to step up their coaching staff. Their facility people are awesome. Their, their athletic department is amazing. But my question is, or my thing is, can they step up the coaching just a hair notch? Because if they could step it up.
Pay the staff. That's the problem. They're not paying the staff, competitive wage compared to other coaching staffs at the tier and ilk of West Virginia. So until they open the purse strings, did you ever hear the saying, penthouse dreams, outhouse budget? Well, West Virginia needs to start paying if they want to be living in the penthouse. They do it with the facilities. They look fantastic. The coaching staff has to be paid. So
Kelly McCourt says 31-0 Pitt off a pick six halftime.
Yeah, there's another pick six. Was that the same pick six? I was watching it and I turned it off.
No, there was 3 pick sixes.
So let's talk to Drum Wolf here. West Virginia not win another game. Party is over. Yeah,
Drum Wolf.
I think you're being too optimistic, man. I really do. I do. But I wish. I keep saying that.
Shane,
roll it out. Just run the table and win all the rest of the games, and they're still in contention. There's still a slight possibility they could play in a Big 12 championship. A lot of scenarios need to play out. Kansas State has to lose.
BYU has to lose.
What's that?
I said BYU has to lose.
BYU has to lose, and then West Virginia has to win out every game.
Which they can do.
Okay. I mean, they can do it, but it's Cincinnati's not going to be a walk in the park or going into Lubbock at the end of the season.
No, it's gonna be a dogfight in Morgantown.
Now let's talk about Caden. I'm going to talk about Garrett Green.
Go ahead.
We don't know what his status is. I don't think he's practiced. I think Nico's getting all the reps at 1. If Garrett is 75%, do you play him over Nico?
I would say if you were to, because this is just my thing. If Garrett Green is 75%, let the next person get in there. If he's performed well, then let him have the ball. Let him throw the rock a little bit. Get a little experience in those games because it helps to help have that experience in the games that are really in a situation where you're like, okay, we need to win these games out in order for us to possibly have this contention opportunity.
Okay. Okay. Hey,
Let Garrett Green heal. Let him recover. And next year, or by next year, Garrett Green will be at least 100% better.
Hey, Drumwolf, do you want to come on? I'm gonna I want to ask you a couple questions, and then we'll wrap up the show with the rest of the stuff I have for tonight, and then we will talk about this again on Tuesday, hopefully with West Virginia winning. But the big thing is, the big question we have: Garrett Green or Nico? Gotta remember, Nico's from Arizona. There's some high.
Nico is from Arizona.
There's high desert mojo. So Drumwolf saying they're sinking ship, wheels have fallen off. Now, what I've heard from folks is from watching the players during the game is seems like it's very somber. They realize that Coach Neil Brown is not long for this is not going to be in his position very much longer. That's the vibe. That's what they're picking up from what there's way these, because guys, the energy was there, and then all of a sudden it wasn't, and then that is exactly about the time Iowa State started beating up on them. So
I would like Dreadwolf 62 to come on here because I've got a few things I want to say to him, honestly.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks for coming on, brother. Drive safe. Thanks, Caden.
I'm not even driving.
Oh, I thought I heard chimes.
Oh no, that was just my thing here at home because I'm in my room at the moment.
Okay, so Kelly McCourt says, "Isn't this Garrett Green last year?" Let's talk about that. So, do you just call this year a wash and get Nico some time, some Division I big game time, so that next year he can hit the ground running?
Yes.
You finish it out.
Give him some experience for now, because then it'll help him next year. So then when next year comes and he's got an offense ready to go for the year, he's going to have an easier time in those big time situation games. Like, for example, if y'all play Penn State again, like somebody from the caliber of that, and anybody like Kansas State, Arizona, BYU, Iowa State, like those types of games. He's ready for those moments, and he's also prepared, mentally. A quarterback has to be mentally prepared to enter every single game, because if he's not mentally prepared, then there's going to have exact problems on that. Because if he's not in the right mindset, he's not prepared for these types of games.
So let's move on. I'm going to talk about something else. Good news. Now, Kelly's going to know what I'm talking about. I want to know if Drumwolf and you, Caden, if you are Pittsburgh Steelers fans.
No, I am not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but I know Justin Fields.
Okay, what about Beanie Bishop from West Virginia last year? He was picked to be he won a rookie award for play for the week, and he had 2 interceptions off an Aaron Rodgers that totally changed the game. The second interception he returned to the 1-yard line, basically securing a win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What a great story for West Virginia in a time that good news is few and far between for anybody in the football program. So
that's so true.
So Drumwolf, I sent you the link. If you want to come on, go ahead. But here's the thing, guys. I I'm a fan. I mean, I wouldn't be if I'm sitting here talking about it twice, 3 times a week. I mean, every Tuesday I do Voice of College Football show, and then I do my Mountaineer Mafia show, which is more fan oriented. And then, same with Thursday, did the Voice of College Football, and then here with the fan show. And I go through my picks, and I don't really look at stats. It's more of a feel. I watch a lot of college football through the year. I've been watching it for years. There's a game coming up that I'm enthralled with, and that's I don't like Notre Dame, but I retired from the Army, and I just like the service academies. I like to see them do well, because here's the thing. They don't get the big time recruits, because these guys and gals, mostly guys for football, right, have to pass height and weight standards. So you're not going to get 6'8" monsters. You had Villanueva, but he was thin then. He gained weight to play for Steelers. Navy runs a option, and I would like to see them win against Notre Dame. That would be fantastic. Drumwolf says, "Go Army." I agree. I love,
Go Army, honestly.
go Army. So.
And Shane, I was going to say, I got my picks between the Notre Dame Navy game.
Yeah.
I got Navy winning big time, because Notre Dame, I don't like them, and they don't deserve in the playoffs.
They don't deserve to be ranked. They lost to Northern Illinois, okay? And come on, guys. If any other team lost to Northern Illinois, they'd be written off. If any other program. Now, Boise State has a player that's dynamite. I forget the kid's name, but he reminds me of a Noel Devine. Not very tall, very fast, quick twitch, side to side. He just makes plays. West Virginia doesn't have that this year. This is the first time in a number of years. I guess the past couple of years, there's only be a few players. Tavon Austin, comes to mind as the last true just splash player. David Stills had occasional splashes, but Garrett Green, an Oklahoma State game.
That was epic.
Oklahoma State game gave me that feel. Gave me that, oh my gosh, any play could be broke for a touchdown. And that just disappeared as quick as it came. And it was kind of a bittersweet thing, because I didn't realize I was missing it. We took it for granted for so long that West Virginia had playmakers that could instantly change the game. Last year, Beanie Bishop had a couple big interceptions, but I don't see that player this year. I don't see that player making as they would call the splash plays, but
the big key plays with the big key players.
Yeah.
Hey, Drummel and then Shane. But here's my thing with Nico. Give him this year to end off, and then have him in next year. Because I'm honestly saying this as a Buckeye fan. Mm-hmm. Now, I may not be a Mountaineer, mm-hmm. but I respect the God-loving just soul out of the Mountaineers, because of the way they kept it going, and that Morgantown is a special place in this country. It's not just Ohio Stadium that rocks every Saturday night. It's not Athens Stadium, with Georgia, calling the dogs, steamrolling teams. No, Morgantown is a special place, in my opinion, had the greatest moments of all time. Let me remind you of a couple games, Shane.
Okay.
1998, you play the Buckeyes in Morgantown, a number 1 Big Ten team to enter Morgantown, and it turns into a showdown for the ages. In my opinion, that's one right there.
Third quarter, and then Ohio State pulled away. Yeah. So.
And there's a lot of them to go.
Yeah. West Virginia had Mark Bulger at the time. So that was a good couple years. That was a year that West Virginia played Marshall, and a very everybody knows Randy Moss. Randy Moss lit up West Virginia in Morgantown, but West Virginia won. So, Kate, I want to thank you for coming on once again. Ohio State plays Nebraska, And of course, I think Ohio State's going to roll them up. It's at the Horseshoe. So I just went to Ohio on Sunday. My friend had to pick up a car, and I drove them down there to Cincinnati. So I drove the whole way from Western Pennsylvania to Cincinnati, picked up a car, and drove back. But I want to thank you for coming on. That's guys. Uniforms look good. We're gonna see who's gonna be playing, Nico or Gigi, and I'm gonna do a video here probably Sunday morning to see, if I find any news. Hey guys, I'm gonna report to you. I'm not a journalist, so if I hear something, I'm gonna say I heard this. It's not gonna be factual. It might be just a rumor, but stay tuned. Hey,
and one more thing, Shane. Are you guys going to be doing the Sunday fan zone, the Big 12 fan zone?
I don't think I'm going to do a fan zone. Joey is cutting back on what he's doing, so I don't know exactly what the pulse is going to be. I'm going to go back probably to Friday shows. So I'll do a Tuesday and a Friday show, and then do my Mountaineer Mafia show tonight on Thursdays. So to be determined. This is my first full year of doing this, and I still have a day job, but I do it because it's fun and I enjoy it. But hey, thanks again.
Also, you get to enjoy us. We're all fans of college football.
I do. I love college football, and we talked. The last show, last hour, we went through all the games, talked about it. So if you're not a member of the Voice of College Football West Virginia channel, subscribe. Even if you're not a Steelers fan and you like to just bullshit about football, about food, about good old times, podcast. So
I'll say this, Shane.
Yeah, buddy.
Just honestly, in my opinion, hey, listen, and this is to all the Mountaineer fans. Next year, I guarantee the Mountaineers will be back. They will come back. They will rise. And guess what? Mountaineer Mafia may play Ohio State in the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe.
I would love to see the rivalry between West Virginia and Ohio State get a little uneven a little bit. Get a little frisky like the old 90s fights they used to get into. I like myself an old school college football rivalry. Now, Michigan's not that fun because, well, they were being the cowards. But if you're talking a real team from down south, like the West Virginia, Carolina, Tennessee area, I tell people West Virginia has always given Ohio State given them that eye that says, listen up, Ohio State, you're not the only tough team in the area.
Yep.
So I'm being honest about that, Shane, but I'm telling you, West Virginia, next 2 years, will be back in the playoffs.
That's a great one. I love it. Caden, you have a good one.
Go Bucks and go Mountaineers, and we'll see y'all in the playoffs.
Take care, buddy. Well, that was great having Caden on. He's an Ohio State fan, if you didn't know. But, Kelly Drumwolf, guys, thanks for popping in. We're going to get this ball rolling with this. Oh, look who we have here. We'll bring him in. Hey, how have you been? It's been a minute. Notre Dame fan.
What's up, Shane?
Yeah. So, what do you think of Navy coming in this week? That option's scary.
I'm always going to be a little nervous, but we should be able to run. The Lions looks better I know the schedule hasn't been the toughest, but the Lions played all right, and Navy does have a bit of trouble stopping the run. So I'm hoping they'll be able to. Hoping we'll be able to run some. They're always not. I'm definitely a bit nervous.
Yeah, but they're undersized, but they always execute. They you don't have 8 guys making their assignments, and the guys that are not on that side of the play, just taking off like you do on other teams. Navy, every kid's on their assignment and on to the second and third guy to block. So that's a big deal when you're running the option, So Like you have to have that.
They've thrown it a bit this season, which is interesting. They've thrown it. I mean, not much, but more.
enough to put that safety on their heels and make him make a play. They're fun to watch. I mean, if you're a college football fan, tune on Navy. You know, this Army Navy game coming up in December, man, it's going to be a banger. I don't remember the last time that they're both.
So are they going to play? I need to figure out. I need to figure out if they both win. If they win the. Wait, oh,
I'm losing you. You're being buffered. Say that again. Type in chat here.
I'll move downstairs.
I'm losing you, bud.
I'll move downstairs.
Okay, go downstairs. So yeah, we had a little bit of connection. I'll tell you what, I'm so excited to hear what your thoughts are with this.
Sorry, I mean my connection's all right up there, but I moved downstairs.
Yeah, closer to the router. There you go.
Yeah.
Damn internet.
But what do you talking W? Can I talk WVU?
Oh, absolutely.
So
Kill it.
I know that. So I haven't watched like every game. But I've like looked at the scores. Do you think? Like I felt like that WVU, like they've beaten the teams they're supposed to, and then I mean the games haven't been great against the top teams, but I feel like WVU, the rest of their schedule is all winnable. Do you think?
I think
How
it's
confident are
winnable.
you that
Cincinnati and Texas Tech are no longer cellar dwellers? You know?
Yeah, they're not gimmies, but like they're better than the Iowa States and Kansas States. I mean, they're not as good as them. So
I'm glad you're saying that because I needed to hear that. Because here's the thing. We now look at Penn State as a top 3 team. They're a top 3 team. Pitt right now is rolling up Syracuse 24-0. And West Virginia
31
was in control of that game up until the last 4 minutes. In fact, they thought they had it won, and they went and warmed up the bus. And I went to go mow grass, and I came back. I'm like, holy shit, what happened? So, you know, that game right there, they would have beaten a good team. The teams that they just totally shit the bed on would be these last 2 games. Oklahoma State was a phenomenal game. Every aspect looked running, defense, special teams, everything check. The running backs looked dominant. Receivers were catching balls. Then you have these past 2 weeks. I don't know. I'm apathetic. That's what I titled my one video because Coach Brown, you know what Coach Brown said? Holy cow. Sorry. So Coach Brown basically, you know what he said? He basically said, hey.
I remember it was bad. I don't remember exactly what he said.
He said basically, hey, wasn't that because it was a night game. The atmosphere was fantastic. They have a new LED light system, looks like a rock concert in Morgantown. So when you go out there, it's like Metallica's coming out, okay? Then he says, well, the tailgating was great. The atmosphere was great. We didn't play well. So that's kind of a piss poor attitude. I understand it came across wrong, but when you got your ass kicked like that on a national stage by Iowa State, which Iowa State is top 10, fans don't want to hear that. Especially Neil Brown has not beat a top 25 team yet. West Virginia is known for upsetting like number 3 Virginia Tech. Came into town a couple times ranked in the top 5. West Virginia beats them. Rutgers was top 5. West Virginia beat them years ago. Then you have your top 20 teams that roll into Morgantown and lose. TCU recently came in ranked and lost. That just hasn't happened under Brown. So as an outsider looking in, if you were hired as the athletic director of West Virginia, I want to ask you, what would you do? Would you fire Neil Brown? He has some good recruits coming in. Or would you,
I mean, I would say like how the team responds from what's going on now. Because if the team fights for him, if the team fights for him,
and this last game,
I would consider giving him another chance, but yeah,
he's lost the fan base. Everybody's pretty much just happy.
Yeah.
But you don't remember this, and it's right before my time, but there was a guy named Bobby Bowden, coach of Florida State, turned that program into a juggernaut. He started at West Virginia. So he had 5 years at West Virginia. The fans ran him out of town. He went to Florida State, and look what happened. So,
I mean, I don't think Neil Brown's going to be as good as Bobby, but
no.
The last 5 games, I would be like, you got to win them all, because I feel like WVU's traditionally been better than this.
I do too, and that's what makes it so bad. If West Virginia was just mediocre and didn't have that great game against Oklahoma State, I wouldn't have a case of the ass. I would just be like, I would accept what we have as fans and move on. But that Oklahoma State game looked dominant in Stillwater. So, yeah, that'd be interesting. But there's lots of good games this week. My son plays high school ball, and the whole team is in at Acrisure Stadium watching Pitt roll up Syracuse. So, that's interesting that your kid's he goes to West Virginia games when he doesn't have a game. So
yeah.
But yeah, you're a young guy. You're not quite there yet. So
do you think that the younger generation of WVU fans, they don't get the rivalry as much as?
No, they've. It's been unfortunate because they haven't had because the distance is so far. You don't have that rivalry. But I don't want to speak for them, but it's just not there. I actually came into town, Morgantown, and start going to school right at the year after the last Penn State game. So that was still talked about a lot, and that animosity was still there. And then with Pitt, when I was at school, West Virginia would usually beat Pitt. 9 out of 10 games West Virginia win. And if you just go to Wiki and look, the last 40 years West Virginia's pretty much dominated that series. Now you go back 100 years, the first 30 Pitt won. So that's why it looks even when you see the total rankings. But the past 40 years, West Virginia's been pretty dominant. That's what makes it even harder, because it's more of a rivalry for Pitt fans than it is for West Virginia fans, in my eyes. Because when I was in school there, Virginia Tech and West Virginia were always competing for dominance, and Miami. Those were the three that were competing for. And then Louisville was thrown in there in 05.
Donovan McNabb, I guess.
Yeah.
Too.
Louisville had some good teams. Schiano had 2 years where Rutgers was good. So, it was usually, in the early 90s, it was Miami. In 93, West Virginia ran the table and was snubbed for a national championship spot to play for the national championship. They actually played Florida and lost, but it's kind of like Florida State last year. You think you're going to be playing for a national championship, you win all your games, you beat Miami, you beat Boston College, who beat the number 1 team, Notre Dame, that year in 93.
My dad was at that game.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So
yeah, my dad was at that game.
Yeah, so that all happened. So West Virginia's used to having rivalries, like even Boston College, But I grew up going to Penn State Notre Dame games. Every other year, we'd go up to Penn State and watch Penn State Notre Dame and Beaver Stadium. So the rivalries are just a little different. The other thing is, you couldn't watch a lot of these on TV. You just didn't have.
Not even on like a local channel?
Local channels would sometimes, listen to this. This sounds crazy, and you might just you won't be able to wrap your head around it. Even Pittsburgh Steelers games in Pittsburgh would sometimes be blacked out
because it wasn't a sellout. Maybe
yeah, they want people to go to the game. Yeah. But when the Steelers got real good, they were airing all the games in the 70s. Okay. But same with like sporting events. If it's not, they black it out in certain areas. And that was even in 2002, 2003, they'd black out certain areas. You couldn't get it. I remember having Dish and not being able to get something because the zip code said I lived in a certain spot. So, now we can get everything on ESPN Plus, all these different Fox Sports, CBS will have it. So we're blessed to have that. But the rivalries, I wouldn't say it's worse. It's just different. So, now you're, if California was playing Pitt, it was a big deal. It was a bowl game. Now it's a conference game. Notre Dame is the exception. They've always traveled all over the United States playing.
Yeah, back in the New Rockney days, they started doing that.
Yeah, they're getting on a train. They'd get on a train, and I don't know how they got their schoolwork done. Right? You're on a train. Because if you're a man in the 20s and 30s and you're on a train, you're playing cards and smoking. Talking about
they stopped doing. Do you know the story on when they stopped going on trains and they only went on flights?
No, I want to hear this. Go ahead.
1966, undefeated Notre Dame taking the train to East Lansing to play undefeated Michigan State. And there are some rampant Spartan fans there that weren't too happy like that. I think some of them got injured because of the fans, and I think one guy fell down a stair or something and got hurt. So the Irish were like super shorthanded in that game.
Oh no, that's terrible.
But they're able to squeak out a tie, and they got voted number 1 over Alabama, who was undefeated and untied, and then that was a whole controversy.
Oh my.
And then eventually they settled it in the Sugar Bowl, and the next year the Irish were undefeated in 73. So,
and isn't that 73 the year that
that's
Rudy
kind of why like teams from the South started hating Notre Dame because they got the he was a student. That wasn't I don't think they were that good when he played in 75. Okay. I think 75 was the year Rudy played, but he was a student in 73.
Okay. That makes
sense. So that's kind of why people in the South don't like Notre Dame, because they got a tie and they got ranked ahead of Alabama, who didn't have a tie.
People in the South back then didn't like Catholics in general.
Yeah. So that was also part of it.
So that's fun. I'm so glad I had you on here. Would you want to come on again on the Mountaineer Mafia show next Thursday?
Next Thursday, I should be able to.
Okay. So we're gonna close out. Stay on, and I'll get your information. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, Mountaineer fans, you heard it. We have fans across the nation telling us to just calm down and wait it out. So with that, we'll wait and see if it's going to be Nico, if it's going to be Garrett Green. Guys, it's a coin flip for me. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.